Welcome back to the Three Man Weave College Basketball Show hosted by SportsbookReview.com. Guys, a completely normal show yesterday, and you know what? Killed it. Some guy that filled in for me went 8-0 yesterday. It was a great show. Wow. Good job, everybody.
Ky, you crushed it.
Great,
you showed up.
guy.
You showed up in March when it mattered. It was incredible.
Yeah. Game was on the line, Jim, and I heaved up the half quarter and it went in. SportsbookReview.com. Those guys are awesome. SBRpicks.com/March-Madness is where you should go for more college basketball content. Let's talk about the games today. Jim, Matt, this is one of the coolest NCAA tournaments ever. Matt's in his hallway again. Jim is in his room in Vegas. Ky took a flight to Chicago. He's back in Chicago. That's me. Colorado versus Florida State. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's kick it off.
Do it live.
Florida State is favored by -1.5. The Buffaloes smashed Georgetown. Matthew, your Hoyas. Florida State beat UNCG.
Oh, stop that. Stop that already. No.
The first thing I want to talk about, Matthew, is Ken Pom has his spread Colorado -2. But the odds makers say Florida State -1.5. What do you think?
Too low.
It's too low.
Way too low. I was a Buff boy first round. My only winner of the entire first 2 days, which was fun. This spread's ridiculous. Florida State is the better team, Jim. I don't get why the analytics have all of a sudden cozied up to the Buffs in a way that probably explains why this spread is so short. I'm not buying it. We know Florida State's a better ball club. Do you agree?
Well, as Ky mentioned, Colorado is favored by analytics right now. So it's a little surprising to actually see Florida State favored, but the athleticism, the switchability on defense, I think Florida State is the better team. I agree with you. I think the odds makers are correct here in having the Noles favored. I will probably be a Nole boy today, Ky.
I'm a Nole boy too, Jim. Florida State is my pick today. McKinley Wright versus some big guards. Fun matchup. I think they kind of overwhelm him. Next game, here we go. Michigan versus LSU. Michigan beat Texas Southern last game. LSU smashed Matt's favorite team in the NCAA. That's the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. Jim, I'm going to come out right out and say it. I like LSU +5. Yes, they can play stupid, but they have a lot of talent, man, and talent shines in March. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be a popular dog here, but for correct reasons. LSU is excellent. They've been playing great lately. They were awesome in the SEC tournament. You got Watford is kind of a mismatch here. If you have to throw Dickinson on him, that's an issue for Michigan. Just the versatility, the mobility. He can attack from the perimeter. I'm in my triple threat. I'm thinking about attacking from the perimeter right now. I talent-wise, there's not really a big gap here. I think maybe there's a coaching edge for Michigan, but yeah, I agree with you, Ky. +5 is probably the right side here. Matthew, are you a Tiger boy?
I'm torn. We talked about this, Jim. We handicapped this yesterday. I would make the spread closer to 10 if Livers was playing. I just think Livers is worth 4 or 5 points. I mean, he's that important. You go back to you look at those games last year when he was out. You could pretty easily trace that value to when he was in, when he was out. You look at all the, just the outright win-loss record is just as telling. I don't know how LSU guards Hunter Dickinson, Ky.
They don't.
They don't. Done.
No.
And that's then the answer. It's been solved.
Yes.
We don't need to discuss anymore. Michigan by 1 million. That's where I'm at.
LSU realized that it's just as efficient just let him score versus actually trying to guard him. So he will have a lot of points. I do think he dominates them. I'm just kind of feeling LSU +5 today. All right. Next, here we go. USC versus Kansas. Well, you talk about why 6 versus 3, Jim. Here,
bad line. This is a bad line, Ky.
I had so many like setups for this game, and I just blew them all. So let's just go with. I don't know why Kansas is a dog. Ken Pom has USC number 9 in the country now. That's, I guess, part of the reason. The Pac-12 in general has been soaring up in the analytic rankings. Jim, guess what? I like Kansas. I'm going with the Jaybirds here. Jalen Wilson is available today. Big news.
Yes, he just arrived in the bubble. We have received word here. I think Kansas should be favored. I'm sort of confused why they're not. I will be on the Jayhawks today. I don't have a ton of great matchup details here, Matthew. I just think Kansas is the better team and should be favored. So I will be betting on Kansas.
I will too. Is it possible, Ky, that USC is just better than Kansas and thus deserves to be favored by a short number over KU?
Now, I will say this, hashtag bracket guy. I have USC over Kansas in my bracket. So it is very inconsistent of me to bet on Kansas and go against that.
Separate church and state, Kai. Separate church and state. Bracket, betting, two different things.
Which one is church and which one is state, if you had to choose?
I would say that betting is church.
Betting is church. This is a religion for us and our listeners. Yes.
And bracket is the state. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I'm going to go Kansas. Let's go Kansas. All right.
Yeah, I guess I'd lean Kansas too, but I don't know. USC might just be awesome. It's possible.
Yeah, let's not say awesome.
USC was very good in round one. They took care of business against Drake. Absolutely.
Colorado's beaten USC 3 times. That's a stat for you. Next game, Ohio versus Creighton. Plus 5.5. Ohio over Virginia. Matthew, one of the talk of the towns. One of the big upsets of the first weekend. Creighton beat our Gauchos. I think this is going to be a shootout, Matthew. I think it's going to go over. We're going to see a lot of triples. I'm sticking with Ohio in my Sweet 16. I think they are a good plus 5.5 bet. I'm going to sprinkle the money line as well.
I think Creighton advances. I think the price is actually fairly accurate here. I'd probably lean Creighton on the number. I made this 7.5, so I probably should be looking to take on the Jays. A different type of matchup than UCSB, Jim. I don't think I don't think the Bobcats have the same athletic neutralization effect that UCSB did. However, they have a star. And when you have a star, you can go as far as that star can take you. Jason Preston, curious how Creighton defends him, who they put on him, but he's going to be the key, obviously.
I would imagine it'll be Jefferson would probably be my guess, just because his length, you put him on Preston, and that could potentially short circuit the Ohio offense. But I'm riding with Ohio here too. I will be like Kai. I will be on plus 5.5. I'll be on the money line here. Picked him in my bracket. We're putting church and state together here. I think Ohio's. So. I'm not going to say the better team. That would be objectively incorrect. But popular underdog probably here with Ohio, and that doesn't make it wrong. I think they're going to win, and I will be backing the Bobcats today. Matt.
Yeah, your boy Ben likes it too in the chat. So if that's a consensus.
He's a Jay or Ohio.
Perfect. He's Ohio. Oh, you're a Jay.
Okay, I'll take Ohio then. I'm on Ohio. That's fair.
Okay, that's smart. And also, we combine church and state. So keeping track at home, church and state are back together. Next game, Alabama versus Maryland. Jim's favorite coach in the world, Nate Oates, leading Alabama. They are minus 5.5. They beat Iona. Maryland, they beat UConn. Yes, I got cute and I took UConn in my Final Four, but that's a state concern. We're talking church right now. Biggest stat for me, Jim, Alabama 17th in the country, 3-point attempt rate. Maryland 304th in 3-point attempt rate. Defense, bad news Bears.
Well, it's surprising because they're very switchable. It's a wing-oriented team. You would think they're able to run you off the 3-point line, given their defensive versatility and the fact that they have the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year in Morcell. So I'm surprised to hear that they're that poor in 3-point attempt rate defense. But yeah, I think that could spell trouble here. Alabama's rim offense, 3-point offense. I think it could find some success. This is like the first time I've looked at the board, but hey, I'll be on a favorite. But
me too.
I'm rolling Tide today, Matt.
Yeah, I made this 8.5. The opener at 4.5 was wrong, and it's been quickly corrected up to 6 most places now. I think 6 is still good value. I would actually prefer to take first half maybe at 3 if you can find 3 right now. But I'll probably split up my massive hammer, Kai, on first half Bama, full game Bama. Diversify my risk to some degree there in case there's a late Maryland surge or Bama comes out slow. I just think this is a great matchup for Bama. I really do. It's a team that can't really exploit their lack of superior size. And I think the pace plays pretty high in this game. So plenty of opportunities to extend, get over that number hurdle. I like the tie. What's so funny?
Sorry. A guy in the chat said hose Maddie down. That made me laugh. No, I agree.
I could use a shower. I could.
To be fair, I like your take. I agree. Alabama, number 2 defense in the country. I think they're going to shut them down. That's right. Alabama. All right.
The defense is shockingly good. It's fantastic. Alabama's defense is awesome.
They are fantastic. All right. Alabama's our pick. Nice job. We tend to fly through these last 2 shows. That's partially just the pace here. I get it. All right.
Well, there's only 8 games. It's hard to.
That's true. That's okay.
What you do.
We're giving the people what they want. Oregon versus Iowa. Speaking of giving the people what they want, I think everybody wanted to see this game. Unfortunately, the way Oregon got here is a little bit crappy, if we're being polite.
Yeah.
They got the VCU forfeit. Iowa did not cover against Grand Canyon to our betting pleasure, so that was nice. But they do move on here. Jim, I think a lot of points are in this game, man. I like the over. Neither team doesn't really stop the other, in my opinion. First game of the tournament worries me about Oregon. Otherwise, I'd like them a lot at plus 5.5. I just think Iowa has an advantage with that game under their belt.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I mean, the weakness of the Oregon defense is the paint. They don't have like a true center. They don't have your Jordan Bell, your typical Kenny Wooten, the guys that really lock up the paint and block shots. And that's where Garza is going to go nuts. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of like Dana Altman playing chess, trying to go mix up defenses and confuse Iowa. But they can shoot. They have Garza. I'm going to be betting on Oregon, and I picked them in my bracket here too. But it does feel like there's some matchup advantages for Iowa here, Matt.
Yeah, I think Oregon needs to play zone the entire game. I think playing man in any sort of capacity is a recipe for disaster. We saw Luka get his and pick and pop in the first matchup. I think he goes right back to where his bread is buttered, Ky, in the paint, in the restricted area. Has a big game. I've been fading Iowa a lot this season. I think it's pretty much well documented. Was against them last game. I should be against them here, but I have real matchup concerns here for Oregon. Even though they can junk it up and mix up some defenses, I think Iowa is one of the best zone attacking offenses you'll find. I like Iowa here.
To Wonka's point in the chat, 9 a.m. game for Oregon. Well, how long does jet lag last in the States? I guess that's the question I need to know.
Big time question here.
I mean,
our boy Benny Sports is on Iowa first half.
Okay.
H1, he says. I have never seen it said H1, but go for it.
Maybe that's a new strain of flu. We'll keep track of that. Next game, we got Gonzaga versus Oklahoma. One of the biggest. Actually, this spread's like triple any other spread this round, which is kind of cool. At least today, -14. The Zags. The Zags just absolutely destroyed Norfolk. My God. And Oklahoma, of course, beat the Missouri Tigers. That's part of the reason. Probably not all, but part of the reason my voice is completely trashed because I was yelling at Mizzou, Jim, the entire game because they sucked, and I'm disappointed. But Matthew, I agree. What do you think here? 14 points for Gonzaga. Yeah, they're awesome. I don't know if Harmon's playing or not today. I don't think he is. I haven't seen anything on it.
He's out. He's out first two rounds. Yep.
He's out.
Yeah.
Spread feels correct, but it's high. It's a tournament setting. I'm going OU. So yeah, I'm going OU.
I made 11. Kruger will muck this game up. I think there's no way this is a shootout, and I think that'll play well if you're backing the dog. 14 points, big number. Must be nice knowing, guys. I mean, just taking some solitude in the fact that, hey, if you would have won, you would have been a 14 freaking point dog in the second round. I mean, like, that's insane.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You're talking Mizzou. Yeah. No. They put it in. I'm to be clear. I've got my Bulldog on. I'm wearing a Gonzaga shirt, but
it's very realistic.
I think the spread is high.
Yeah.
Matt, you said you made it 11. I made it 12. I just 14.5. Like, I obviously, if you're fading Gonzaga, it's painful, and you're kind of cringing the whole time while you do it. But Oklahoma is competent. They're well coached. They have scorers. I would hope they try to slow the game down. Like you said, you got to control tempo. You got to muck it up here, but 14.5 just feels a little high. I would probably, if I had to, I would bet the under just because I think Oklahoma will try to make this a half-court game, but the efficiency is going to be pretty absurd for both teams, I think. So staying away from the total, but I think spread's too high. I'll be on Oklahoma.
Yeah, 154, Jim. I agree. High for a total as well. I do that. I definitely lean under.
Well, the lead is pretty locked in right now in terms of which sides they're on every game. This is nice. It's nice agreeing with you guys, except Matt. He liked Creighton at first. He flip-flopped. We'll remember that one. Final game, Abilene Christian, the darlings, well, one of many darlings of this tournament, against UCLA. The Bruins, 4.5-point favorite. Wow. I mean, that just feels low right off the bat, Jim. But Abilene Christian proved against Texas, they don't care how big you are. Doesn't matter they're one of the smallest teams in the country. They fight, they rebound, and they're 23rd in defense per KenPom right now. Do you think they can cover against UCLA?
I think UCLA probably wins here. I kind of trust Cronin. He's not a great round of 32 coach. I think historically he's really struggled to get to the Sweet 16. Cincinnati fans would tell you that frustratingly. It's,
the Nevada game is one that sticks out.
The 22-point comeback that Nevada had. Yep,
great.
So Abilene is forced turnovers and they play through the post. That's like the two things that are the principle of their squad. And UCLA's post defense not great without Jalen Hill. He's still not with the team. UCLA pretty good at taking care of the ball though. Tiger Campbell, one of the better point guards in the country. That certainly helps against the pressure. But Matt, Abilene, like they showed us in round one that I think maybe we haven't been believing in them all season. So perhaps I need to wisen up and realize that Abilene is awesome. But I would, 4.5, I would probably be a UCLA guy today.
We've known Abilene's awesome. We just were reminded that Texas sometimes is stupid and doesn't know how to insert their dominance of athleticism. I'm tired of just betting against good coaches, right? Like Wayne Tinkle, Oregon State, ECU, Joe Golding. I'm betting ACU. This line's incredibly too small. I made it 7. I don't care. I'm going the other way here. I'm just going to bet good coaches the rest of the way.
Wow, Matt hates
I'm
his
tired.
number. Look at this.
Hates numbers. My numbers are being ripped to shreds right now in the back room.
I wrote I'm taking ACU because it's more fun.
Yes, I agree.
It's more fun. It's about an Abilene Christian. So I'm going with them. Since we have a little bit of time here, who do you guys like coming out of the East real quick? Final 4 pick. Go ahead. Is it Alabama?
All 4 of my Final 4 are still alive. Alabama, Gonzaga, Baylor, Houston. So yeah, what's up? That's right. All 4 alive. So I'm sticking with that Final 4. I have no reason to change right now.
Yeah, Baylor, Gonzaga, Houston for me. Still assessing in that wide open up for snatch grabs.
You don't get to do that. You assess.
Do I have to? Do I have to get my take now? I don't know. Michigan, can I go chalky? Feels like they're being discounted at this point.
I agree. Hey, look at Villanova, Sweet 16, right? Everyone wrote them off. Here they are. Okay, guys, I'll let Matt and Jim go back to bed. Thank you for joining us on our wonderful show. You know what, guys? I'll be honest. I don't know when we're on next. Jim, do you know off the top of your head?
I believe we are doing Saturday's games on Thursday and Sunday's games on Friday.
All right. My planner says too.
Guys, we will see you Thursday at 9 a.m. Central. Check out sbrpicks.com/March-Madness. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel, SBR Sports Picks. Hit the like button before you go if you would. We'll see you on Thursday. Have a good one. Good luck.